Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna talk about two things. The first one is did I get worse? And second is how I study some specific pixel art. So the first thing is actually more about did I get worse? Because when we make a lot of art in general, not only pixel art, but whenever we do creative things, but I think this maybe or maybe not happens a lot in art is did I get worse? And why this feeling? Well, two main reasons we feel we get worse when actually could get better. So the first one is learning speed. When we are beginners, we learn a lot of new stuff about a certain subject. And the more we progress, more we feel we see the improvement. We see our art, our pixel art getting better in each new iteration. But there is some period of time that you just reach the number of new things, new techniques, new concepts you didn't know and you learn. So from that time on, the number of new things actually tends to become fewer and fewer. So when we pass this wave, there is a huge chance that we feel like we are getting worse, but actually we are not learning new techniques. So from that time on, the only way to get better in this thing is not by learning a new technique or learning a new concept. Actually, it's only through practice, only through by making something over and over and over. And this obviously takes way more time, way more energy than learning new things and feel that we are improving really fast. So if you ever felt like this, it is just because you already have a lot of knowledge that you didn't have before. So it's not because you are worse than before. It's just because you are not in that middle of hurricane of new information. Now everything has kind of settled down, and the only way to improve, or actually the only path to keep going, is by practicing. And actually, you might even have way more improvement between two practice than two new concepts. You just are not in the mood to realize this. And but maybe after some period of time being only going down and maybe hitting the plateau, after some period of time you will realize this. Some people give up before or are just become depressed before that phase, so I understand that this might happen. But unfortunately, there is no match. We are gonna feel that way because we lost that honeymoon of new things and making everything more sense than before that fast than here. So there is no much to do, only changing your mindset. There is another scenario that our brain is learning way faster than our hands. It's very close idea with the previous one, but actually this is a bit different condition. You passed by that wave of new knowledge. So now the only thing that remains is to practice. And maybe you see a lot of new artworks, a lot of new artists, a lot of new breathtaking art piece, and you start to break down in your mind what process the artist used in order to achieve that result, and you will get very excited because everything will make even more sense. But when you sit down and try to make something similar, then reality knocks and we have to let it come in, because this will happen the more you consume and check upon the other artist's art. And I'm not saying that you should stop, but you should be more comprehensible with yourself. You see way more studies and it is faster to do this, checking upon the other artworks, breaking down the possible process the artist used and how could you adapt into it. But when you sit down and try to do something, it's just lack of practice. There is no other magical, mythical reason that are stopping you to become better. That is not practice. You are not worse, you are not terrible, you are not a horrible person. It's just because your brain is so incredible and so able to break down process to imagine things and how it would work that it gets better just by imagining it. But your hands, your feeling, your brush strokes, your painting, your routine, and so on is just not adapted yet. You would need, for example, maybe 10 more days, 20 more days only of practice to reach that level your brain already is. So whenever you feel depressed because your art is actually pretty worse, try to use your reason. Is it because you passed that wave of new things and now you're hit the plateau and now the only thing in order to get better is practice? Or either you consume a lot of new medias, a lot of new art works, and you break down the process, you try to replicate the idea, the techniques in your brain, and when you sit down and try to do it, it's not that good. It's also lack of practice. In this case, the practice is the only thing that you need to improve further than this. And in this case, practice is the only way to make your hand catch up the difference between it and the brain capabilities. So it is just not exactly mindset, but it's the usage of your knowledge, of your skills that you learn. You're not terrible. Now, two techniques to learn with artworks. The first one is the most classic one, that is copying. Like you look at the image reference, it can be other images, other artworks, but we look at a subject and you try to copy this by only your vision, measuring with your eyes, looking at, trying to see the proportions, trying to figure out the perspective, and so on. And the second one is dissecting the art piece. So I opened this work that I already showed you guys, that is from Sisyphe or Kokefi, Kosefi, and etc. And here I will try to break down something and try to learn from it. So for example, talked a lot about how cute this art style is. I already said that is because of the lack of pointy edges, a lot of textures and symbols, a lot of saturation, the textures in the shadows, and so on. And the proportion of the character that is like one head and the body is also one head tall. Let me try to break down this. For example, this slime consists into this silhouette, let me put it this way, and a shadow inside of it to imply transparency, highlight, and an outline that works almost like a ring light. So even though this is ugly, I didn't have any care in how to make it. Do you agree that I almost replicate the slime just by doing random things without, as I said, too much polishing? That's the way. Now this a gold chest. So what I have in here is something like isometric chest opened. So I have something like this, isometric. So I have something like this. I have different colors for shading, and for the gold coins I have cluster with more clusters inside, and I just need to break them and add some highlights as well. And there is like some sapphires in here, an object to imply what is this cluster about. So even though this is not great, do you agree that with this as cluster and a hint, this could be read as a pile of treasure or gold? Let's go for the alpaca or llama. To be honest, I don't know. But let's go. As you can see, it is a circle, a cylinder, and a cylindrical shape, something like this, with some lights, some parts, the legs as well could be broken down as cones. So you might say, but this is terrible. Yeah, I know. The whole idea of dissecting is not to make this perfect, actually, it's just to get the grasp of how is this made in the most simple way. Like how could I break down this and make a silhouette, for example? So now I am confident in how I am able to create an alpaca even without have any reference, because now I know how Sisyphe made this alpaca. So I could try to replicate all the idea behind this. I'm not saying this is a good example of Llama or this is a good pixel art. I'm saying that now in any pixel canvas, I would able to think about if I use something looks like a circle, something that looks like a cylinder, something that looks like another cylinder, and three cones depending upon the perspective, I'm able to get something that reminds of a queen, like a horse or alpaca in this case figure. So I don't know if you agree that this exercise is a good thing, but that is the way I break down images, pixel art, and get the silhouette of it. I could do as well for the trees, for example. I could even trace behind. To be honest, I don't like this because I'm training how to get these silhouettes with these clusters and these clusters. So actually, I rather try to copy the general silhouette out here, and then if I want, I'm totally able to, for example, add a branch right here, another right here, and I'm not trapped into this silhouette. I am doing my own. That is it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.